What's up, Exiles? Clumsy Goldfish here. Hope everybody is having a fantastic day. And something I wanted to do for Path of Exile 2, I've been a guy who's played the original Path of Exile, now Path of Exile 2 several times. And I really see a lack of true beginner content out there, like content for noobs, right? So in this video, that's what I want to do. I want to do everything you need to know about Path of Exile 2 in under 20 minutes. We're going to talk about what kind of game is it, character creation, controls, movement, dodging, potions, the passive skill tree, item rarity, and crafting items. Now, this is all going to be a basic overview. Again, this is a beginner's guide. Now, with all that being said, if you watch this video and you enjoy it, drop a like. If you learned something, subscribe to the channel. I would greatly appreciate that. It would help the channel grow. And now, let's get into it. The first thing I want to talk about today is what is Path of Exile? What kind of game is Path of Exile 2? And I would always classify Path of Exile 2 as being in the hack-slash genre, right? So what you're really doing in this game, you're a hero. You know, you choose a class. You go around through levels. You wipe out monsters. You wipe out rare monsters. You wipe out bosses. You complete quests. Sometimes you farm areas for more gear or more orbs, which we'll talk about more later. But the whole idea behind this is you've got a character, it's kind of RPG-ish. You go through areas, you clear out monsters, you complete quests, you level up, you get cooler stuff. That is what Path of Exile 2 is at its core. Now, when you first start Path of Exile, you're not going to have any characters like I do, right? So you're going to need to create a new character. You'll hit create, and you'll go to the standard league, and there's two modes. So there's solo, self-found, and then there's hardcore. Now, if you're playing for the first time as a beginner, I strongly recommend you do solo, self-found, and not hardcore. Right? Actually, you don't even need to do solo, self-found. You don't need to check that. If you want to play specifically by yourself, you do solo, self-found. If you want to party or play with someone else, you just check neither of these. And if you click continue, you'll be able to choose from 12 classes. Now, some classes are already in the game, some are not, because it is still in early access. So we've got, Ranger, which is your classic dexterity hero that's going to shoot from afar. Warrior, your classic strength hero who's going to fight up close with melee. A druid who can actually shapeshift into animals that do different things. Bear, wolf, and wyvern, however you want to say it. But also a spellcaster, a witch who's an intelligence spellcaster, a mercenary who's a dexterity hero, monk, strength and intelligence hero, huntress, similar to the ranger, a dexterity hero, and then sorceress, that is an intelligence hero. And then 4 more heroes coming up soon after that, after the game is fully launched. So, depending on your play style, like if you want to kite and shoot from afar, you want to play ranger. If you like tanks or you want to get in close and fight the enemy, you're picking warrior. If you'd rather do something spell-based, you're thinking witch or sorceress. So that's where you'll choose your character creation, and if you want to know more about the characters, you can always look that up on the Path of Exile 2 wiki before beginning. So when you first create your character, there'll be a cutscene as usual in games, and then you will actually enter the game and it will prompt you to select a movement type. Now there's 2 movement types in Path of Exile 2. There's using your mouse and there's using WASD. Now you can always change this at a later time if you don't like what you select, but I highly recommend using WASD. And what that means is you actually move your character around the map using WASD, and then you use your mouse and different hotkeys for attacks, right? So you'll move with WASD, you can dodge with space, and that's all very intuitive, right? And then you can set up different attacks for left click, left mouse button, middle mouse button, right mouse button, Q, E, R, T, and F. Okay? Those are all very easy and intuitive to use. So I highly recommend the WASD movement pattern. Now, the next thing as a beginner that's really important for you to understand is there are going to be items in the game called skill gems. Now, skill gems specifically unlock skills for you, okay? So anytime I want to pull up what skill gems I have equipped, I can hit G, and it pulls up which skills I have equipped. And then if I want to add any of these skills to a specific hotkey, I can do that by left-clicking, and then left-clicking again. So you can see I have some skills set up down here. And when I hit G, you can see Maul, for instance, is my basic skill gem, which you would get from an uncut skill gem, and it'll show you what level. Now right now it's level 9, so if I got a level 10 skill gem, I could actually level Maul up to level 10. And if I use a level 1 skill gem, if I right-click it, it will give me a skill that is level 1. Right? So I could get Volcano, Entangle, Lunar Assault, or Furious Slam. Now, there are also things called support gems. Now, if you right-click a support gem, you can actually insert a support gem on a skill gem. And I know that might be a bit confusing. But if we look at Maul again, Maul is my base skill gem. And then I've actually got 2 support gems on Maul. So Maul shapeshifts into a bear and basically hits enemies. Then I've got Life Leech as a support gem, and Rapid Attacks, increased attack speed, as a support gem. So as you're playing Path of Exile, you're going to pick up skill gems. The best way to use them is right-click. And then if you click it, it'll actually show a video at the bottom which shows you what the skill does. So there's no confusion about what the skill is going to do, and it's got a description. So that's really what you need to know as a beginner on how to use and create these gems. One last thing, I guess, you'll actually pick up these skill gems as you're killing monsters, enemies, bosses. They will be drops off of enemy creatures, and you'll just pick them up over time. The next important thing for you to understand are potions. Now, you have potions in Path of Exile 2 in the bottom left-hand corner. You have a life flask and a mana flask. Now, anytime you're taking damage and your life is below maximum, you can click 1 to use your life flask, and it will recharge some of your HP. And if you're running low on mana, you can click 2 for your mana flask, and it will begin to refill your mana. Your mana is on the bottom right, your HP is on the bottom left. Now, as you fight monsters, let's say you use your health potion, it will drain part of your health potion. And then as you continue to kill monsters, it will continue to fill up your life flask and your mana flask. I use potion and flask interchangeably here. They're really the same thing. So basically, as you fight, you'll need to use your HP flask to restore your HP, and then as you beat more monsters, it'll continually fill up. Now, I think one of the things that's most confusing to new Path of Exile players is the massive skill tree. You can see just how giant it is when I've got this loaded up. Now, depending on what class you pick, you'll actually start at a different position on the skill tree. So each class starts at a different position on the skill tree. You can see, since I'm playing Druid, I started at this position. Now, each time you level up, you'll get a passive skill point. And every time you have a passive skill point, you can come to the passive skill tree and you can choose a new passive ability. So, for instance, if I pick plus 10 to armor and plus 5 to maximum energy shield, that'll just be an upgrade that I always have. It's a passive upgrade. Now, you can't just jump anywhere on the tree to select any passive upgrades you want, right? They have to be consecutive. They have to be in order. So you have to have selected / researched, for a better term, researched or selected the prior skill before moving on to the next skill. Now, that does make it important, and you can spend a lot of time looking at the skill tree on where you want to go in the skill tree. But the basics are, when you're fighting in the game, you want DPS, as much DPS as you can have without getting killed by bosses and monsters, right? So you're always trying to walk a fine line between, I'm trying to get as much damage as I can without getting clobbered, you know, by monsters or bosses. So you still need armor, evasion, energy shield, depending on the character that you're playing. With all that being said about the passive skill tree, there's really 3 types of heroes in the game. There's strength heroes, dexterity heroes, and then intelligence heroes at a very basic level. Now, there are some classes that actually kind of fuse the two. Like a shaman will have strength and intelligence. Druid, I mean. Monk may have strength and intelligence, or dexterity or intelligence. So sometimes there's a mix between the two, but generally you have strength, dexterity, and intelligence heroes. Now, strength provides just inherent HP the more strength that you have. Dexterity improves accuracy, more dexterity you have, and intelligence improves your maximum mana. Right? That's just inherently what the skills, the attributes do. Now, there's also, in the game, armor, evasion, energy shield, and resistances. Okay? So, your base armor, how much armor you have, depends on how much damage you're going to take from physical attacks. And your armor will actually show the physical damage reduction that you're going to receive. Like if an opponent attacks you, how much of that damage are you going to receive if it was physical damage? Now, evasion is exactly what it sounds like. What are the chances? The higher your evasion rating, the more chances you have to just straight up dodge an enemy attack. Energy shield basically protects your HP. So basically, you can literally think about it like a shield around your player, right? So if you have energy shield, any damage you take goes to that energy shield before you actually take damage to your HP, and your energy shield can recharge. Now, we also have different resistances. We have fire, cold, lightning, and chaos. Now, fire, cold, and lightning are basically elemental attacks. So the more resistance you have for fire, the less fire damage you take. More resistance for cold, less cold damage you take. More resistance for lightning, less lightning damage you take. And then you have chaos, which is kind of in a class of itself. There's also chaos damage in the game, and the more chaos resistance you have, the less chaos damage that you take. So hopefully that helps kind of explain the different attributes and the really 3 key defenses in the game, which are armor, evasion, and energy shield, and then the 4 big resistances in the game, which are fire, cold, lightning, and chaos. So there are several different item rarities in the game. There are normal items, which when you see them drop, they're just gray items. There are magic items, which when you see them drop, they're classified as blue items. There are rare items, which when you see them drop are classified as yellow/gold items. And then when you see unique units drop, they're kind of this brownish orangish color. And that's always in the title of the item. Now, this probably goes without being said, but normal items have no extra modifiers. Magic items have anywhere from 1 to 2 extra modifiers. Rare items can have, you know, lots of modifiers, 4+, and then unique items can also have a lot of different modifiers. So basically, instead of having just your basic breastplate that has like 50 armor, that's a normal item, if it's unique, it might have, you know, 5 different modifiers on it that are all improving the stats of the armor. So what you really want to look to do in this game is you really want to look to farm levels continuously and get better and better gear. Like, you want better gear. Ideally, you want to almost always be using all rare items, or at least all rare and magic items. Now, it's not the case at the very beginning of the game. It takes some time to build that armor and that gear up. Now, the other thing, I'm not going to cover a lot in this video. You can also craft, so depending on the orbs that you pick up as you defeat monsters and they'll drop orbs, you can actually use orbs to upgrade normal items to magic items or magic items to rare items and improve the stats of the gear that you pick up. What's up, Exiles? Hopefully that was all helpful. This was really meant to be kind of a crash course on Path of Exile 2. For those of you that didn't have, 2 hours to sit around and watch a YouTube video, this was meant to be a crash course, give you some crucial information so you can get into the game and really start playing and having fun rather than just getting destroyed. So, hopefully you guys enjoyed that. If you did, drop a like. If you learned something, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching, as always.